back to another episode of the RGV Sports Podcast. My name is Bryan Ramos.
And I'm Ivan Palacios. Some big district matchups up this week, some big ones last week too, and 3 weeks remaining in the regular season, Brian. We're in the home stretch now.
Yeah, absolutely. Week 8 in the books, man. We had some big games last week, but I don't think it gets much bigger than Week 9, man. We have several potential district title games decided coming here in Week 9. I know there's still 2 weeks left, but we got a bunch of big dogs facing off.
Yes, sir.
We got 4 top 10 matchups this week. And this Week 9 slate is just as good as it gets here in the Rio Grande Valley. Ivan, just your thoughts on this Week 9 schedule, which we'll dive into in a little bit and break down for our viewers.
And just like you said, man, district titles hang in the balance this week. Not necessarily clinching, but it puts you in the driver's seat down the stretch. And, some of these teams are looking for that first district title in years. Others are just trying to get in that race. So it's going to be an interesting week, a huge week here in RGV Sports. And as always, we'll bring you the best coverage.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to this Week 9 matchup, which will be out there Thursday and Friday at a bunch of games. And really looking forward to getting into it this weekend. But first, we'll dive into our Week 8 recap, breaking down last week's games. And as always, we start with the RGV Sports Game of the Week. And Ivan, that took us to District 16 5A-D2 for a matchup of district title contenders.
Yeah, man, it was a barn burner in that one. Huge game between Mercedes and Brownsville Lopez. Mercedes coming off that loss to Ed Couch, and Brownsville Lopez, I think, had 3-game winning streak going to this one. And it comes down to the wire. Mercedes comes out on top 41-38, but it was close from start to finish. Eddie Slovak, 236 yards and 2 touchdowns for Mercedes. And on the opposite side, Robert Sanchez, 5 rushing touchdowns on 18 carries for the Tigers. And just a huge game, I think the turning point for me was in that second quarter. Mercedes is down 13-6. Freshman Noel Benrosto returns a kick 81 yards for a touchdown. Next kickoff, they recover the onside score again. 13 points in 30 seconds, take their first lead of the game, and they never gave it up after that. Lopez did get close down the stretch, an 11-yard touchdown pass from Ricardo Mondragon to Diego Guerra makes it 41 of 38 with 3 minutes left, and they force a fumble on the next drive to get the ball back. And they're in that position. They want the game-winning drive, and they go for a little trickery, a little wide receiver pass by Guerra, but it gets picked off by another freshman, Frank Salinas, tracks the ball down, secures interception for the win. Huge win by the Tigers, puts them back in that district title hunt. They were coming off that loss to Ed Couch. A loss here probably would have erased their district title hopes. Now they're right back in it. Lopez still in it too. They're 1-1 in district, but now that race gets a little tighter there down the stretch. So huge win by the Tigers, 41-38 over Lopez at home, and homecoming night too. So I'm sure the fans were all happy about that one.
Absolutely, yeah, big win for Mercedes there to, like you said, Ivan, to keep their district title hopes alive. And now to move on, to jump to District 15 5A-D1, we had a matchup between Edinburgh Vella and McAllen Road. Both of these teams were 3-0 in district and entering Week 8. But that changed. Edinburgh Vella picks up a 40-14 win over the Warriors. And Jeffrey Lefevre, man, he just has a complete game. 393 passing yards, 4 passing touchdowns, 2 touchdowns on the ground. Just an overall complete performance from the SaberCats here against the Warriors, as Edinburgh Vella improves to 7-0 overall, 4-0 in district, and they are one of 2 undefeated teams here left in the Rio Grande Valley. And so big win for the SaberCats, as they remain tied for that top spot with McAllen Memorial, and SaberCats and Mustangs will meet here in Week 9, which we'll dive into and preview in just a bit. So big win for the SaberCats to set up a huge Week 9 district title showdown between the number 2 and 3 teams here in the Rio Grande Valley. So big win for Vella. That offense, man, Jeffrey Lefevre just, slicing them up, nearly 400 yards passing. And this Edinburgh Vella offense, man, just showing what they're capable of. Of course, running back Jonathan Flores has over 100 yards rushing on the day. So just SaberCats looking really good heading into Week 9. So big win for them. And Ivan, back to you, man. What was another game that caught your eye there in Week 8?
You talked about Lefevre's big day. Let's talk about Miles Lopez's big day. He leads the PSA High Bears to a 42-7 win over Edinburgh Economides. That one was at PSA Stadium, and they both came in at 4-2 records, 1-0 in district. So it was a huge one for kind of the district title race. And Coach Lupe Rodriguez knew coming in they weren't going to get a lot of drives. Economides likes to run the ball. They like to run the clock. And, sure enough, they were limited to just 8 drives. One was that final drive where they kneeled the ball. But, they score on 6 of those drives. And the only other one they didn't score on was a turnover on downs in the red zone. So, they were in scoring territory. But that offense has been hot. Miles Lopez throws for 421 yards, 4 touchdowns. Ryan Vallejo, another big day for him, 177 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns. Wide receiver Caleb Salas goes over 100. And I think my biggest takeaway, though, was George Alanis. He comes back from injury. Not a lot of carries. He only gets 5 touches, but 2 of those go for touchdowns. So it's nice for the Bears to have their running back. And you got to give a shout out to that defense. That PSG high offense gets a lot of the credit. They put up a lot of points, but, they limit a really good Economides squad to 7 points. And Economides was close. They were in it 27 at the break. They were down in the red zone in the final seconds of the second quarter, but they threw an interception picked off by Armando Davila. And, the defense picks right up in the second half, too. The Jesus Garza comes away with the pick for the PSG defense. And, just huge day for that defense holding that Economides offense. And I think that's what makes this Bears team so dangerous is they're just as good defensively as they are offensively. Huge test this week. We'll get into that one a little bit, but congrats to the Bears. Big win over Economides to stay that, to defend their district title.
Yeah, and we'll stay in the PSG ISD. We had a rivalry game, Ivan, District 15-5A D1, PSG North and PSG Memorial squared off. And this PSG North team, they're 7-0 overall after a 54-0 win against PSG Memorial on Friday nights. They were up 40-0 at the half. It was just complete dominance from PSG North. Everything they wanted to do was working for them. Running back Ethan Guerra, 245 yards, 3 touchdowns on just 8 carries, and that was all in a half of work. So just a really dominant performance by PSG North to improve to 7-0 overall, 5-0 in district play. So this PSG North team, they're one of two unbeatens left here. Number 1 PSG North and number 2 Edinburgh Vela. So a big win for the Raiders as they remain at the top of that district 15-5A D1, along with Corpus Christi Flower Bluff, and those teams they seem destined for a showdown here in a couple weeks. So big win for the Raiders, and PSG Memorial is a good team, and they play solid defense. They have a good offense that can run the ball well, but this PSG North defense has been, in my opinion, just the best defense here in the Rio Grande Valley from start to finish. They've played some good offenses, and they've done well against them all. So big win for PSG North as they remain unbeaten on the year to improve to 7-0, and that's their 27th straight regular season victory. Just a crazy streak that the Raiders have going on here.
Definitely.
So, Ivan, back to you, man. What other games caught your eye in Week 8?
Let's take it over to 32-6. The Los Fresnos Falcons, they had a bye week after that huge 70-point game they had against Sherryland High. And, the offense picked up right where it left off against San Benito. They opened district play against the Greyhounds, and they snap an 8-game losing streak to San Benito. It's their first win over the Greyhounds since 2016, and they're healthy now. They're getting some of those players back that they were missing early on. They had 3 players over 100 yards. Of course, you have quarterback Robert Pineda, but then you got sophomore Tyler Statuick, who was their 3rd-string running back, goes for 11 and 131. Junior Diego Torres goes for 10, 116 and 2. So they got that ground game going, and it's just good to see them pick up right where they left off. Sometimes that bye week can be a little, you got some rust to shake off, but it didn't look like they had any rust out there. They come out, pick up a huge win to start district off 1-0. Joshua Lasser's really starting to come into his own there at tight end. He also plays linebacker for the Falcons, but he lines up at tight end. 4 catches for 70 yards and 2 touchdowns against the Greyhounds. And Los Fresnos, they're 6-1 overall, 1-0 in district, and they're in that title hunt. They haven't won a district title since 2016 before Coach Cantu. They finished 4th the last 3 years under Cantu, and this year looks like they want that title, but they got a big one coming up this week. We'll get into that one a little later too, but huge win for them to start district and keep the momentum rolling going forward.
Yeah, big win there. And now Ivan, to jump to District 15-5A D2, Sherryland Pioneer faced off against Roma. These teams were tri-district champs last year, and last year they played in Roma. It was an exciting game that went down to the wire with Roma winning the shootout with a game that was in the 40s. But this year, there were no points scored in the first quarter, and then all of a sudden, in the blink of an eye, Sherryland scored 28 points in the second quarter to take a 28-0 lead at the half. They finished with a 35-14 win over the Gladiators. Pioneer, just last week, they lost to a good Alice team, 28-0 on the at home here in Sherryland, and now they go on the road and pick up a big win over Roma to get themselves back into that district title race and playoff contention, because in District 15-5A D2, there's only 5 teams. 4 of them make the playoffs. Every win, every loss is critical. 2 losses, basically, you know, it puts you up against it. So Pioneer, they pick up a big win here. Quarterback William Goodlow goes off for 272 passing yards, 142 rushing yards, and 5 total touchdowns. Defensive back Andrew Rivera, only his second touch on offense this year, but he takes it for a 15-yard touchdown. Then he comes up with an interception at the goal line to end a Roma drive. Luis Peña and Ruben Garcia score the touchdowns for Roma, but they were both after the half. So just all-around performance from Pioneer here, man. They dominated. Andrew Leal over 100 yards receiving to lead the Diamondbacks here in this one. So just a big win for Pioneer as they improve to 1-1 in district play, 5-3 overall, and now they enter their bye week, and they'll return to action with a big one here in a couple weeks against crosstown rivals Sharyland High. So big win for Sharyland Pioneer. And just to round out District 15 5A D2 play, we had the top 2 teams there in that district. Sharyland paid a visit to Alice, and this one was a shootout as well, man, but Alice too much for Sharyland. They come up with a 57-32 win. Alice quarterback Lucian Cruz, 336 passing yards, 157 yards rushing, 6 total touchdowns. He outduels Sharyland quarterback Calvin Harris, who had 379 passing yards, 54 yards rushing, and 5 total touchdowns. So wow. Both quarterbacks just put on a show there for the fans there in Alice. And in my opinion, those are the top 2 teams there in 15 5A D2. So big game there, big win for Alice, as they're the only unbeaten there in District 15 5A D2. So they control their own destiny here with 3 weeks left to play as the Rattlers suffer their first loss in district play. So big win for the Coyotes there in that district. With the Week 8 recap in the books, we'd like to take a moment to thank a few of our partners for helping us here at RGV Sports promote high school athletics here in the Rio Grande Valley.
Welcome to Mission Regional Medical Center, your award-winning destination for stroke care. We are proud to introduce our primary stroke center powered by the most advanced technology through Viz AI and in partnership with DHR Stroke Network. At Mission Regional Medical Center, we understand the urgency of stroke care and the importance of quick intervention.
When a stroke alert is activated, our specialized stroke team springs into action.
Upon arrival at Mission Regional Medical Center, our patients are swiftly taken to our CT scan room, where advanced imaging technology captures detailed images of the brain.
These images are then sent to Viz AI's powerful artificial intelligence platform, which analyzes the scan in real time.
Viz AI's cutting-edge algorithms quickly and accurately identify potential signs of stroke,
assisting our team in making informed decisions about the best course of treatment.
Mission Regional Medical Center Primary Stroke Center
is dedicated to provide our patients with the highest level of stroke care, giving them the best chance for recovery.
Trust our experienced team to deliver compassionate care,
advanced technology, and timely intervention
when it matters the most.
You want economical? Need more space? Need reliable safety features? Clark Knapp Honda's got you covered.
Summer might be ending, but Clark Knapp Honda is still heating up with incredible deals like 2.9% APR for 36 months on a 2025 CRV for well-qualified buyers.
Honda for all.
And thank you to our partners for helping us promote high school athletes and shining the spotlight on high school student athletes here in the Rio Grande Valley, here helping us out at RGVSports.com. So now Ivan will dive into our RGVSports.com Player of the Week, and this week we have 2. We have co-players of the week, Sharyland Pioneer quarterback William Goodlow and PSG North running back Ethan Guerra. We touched on their Week 8 performances here, and both of them went off. Ethan Guerra, 245 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns on just 8 carries, just a half of work. He puts on a show running the ball. And then Pioneer quarterback William Goodlow, who played receiver, making the transition from receiver to quarterback this year, 272 passing yards, 142 yards rushing, 5 total touchdowns for the Diamondbacks. So congratulations to the RGVSports.com co-players of the week here for Week 8, PSG North Junior running back Ethan Guerra and Sharyland Pioneer Junior quarterback William Goodlow. So shout out to them on both, just really good performances there to to keep their
Definitely.
playoff and district title hopes alive. And Ivan, now to you, man, if you want to kick off the RGVSports.com top 10 breakdown.
Yeah, I mean, not much change in our rankings. A lot of these teams are picking up wins. They're kind of solidifying themselves in their spots. So numbers 1 through 9 all stay the same. Number 1, PSJ North, been the unanimous number 1 since the season started, and they've been proving why. Number 2, you got Vela. 3, McAllen Memorial. Brownsville Veterans coming in at number 4. Number 5, PSJ High. Number 6, Los Fresnos. Number 7, Wesleco High. Number 8, Wesleco East. And number 9, Brownsville Pace. All stay the same. A lot of these teams are facing off this week, though, so we might see some shakeup next week. And coming in number 10 this week, we got Ed Couch that helps us breaking into that top 10. They're 2-0 in district, 5-2 overall. I mean, 2 losses to 2 really good teams, but I mean, they're up there in the top 10, and then they're going to make a run for that district title. And just to run through our sub 5A teams real quick, St. Joseph's on a bye last week. They stay at number 1 with a 6-1 record. Number 2, you got PI, huge win over Kingsville King to start district. It's improved to 7-1 overall. And then number 3, Real Hondo moves up 1 spot after a huge win over Lyford. District win there, 5-2 overall. And Santa Rosa suffers their first loss of the year, drops them down 1 spot to number 4. And then, I'm just going to run through our Coastal Bend real quick. Not much change there either. I mean, 1 and 2, they've been the same all year. There's alternated a couple times, but Flower Bluff, Miller, 1 and 2 respectively. Number 3, Callahan moves up a spot. And at number 4, the, Corpus Christi Veterans is back in the rankings after, moving to 5-2 on the year. Just overall thoughts, Brian, on these rankings and the way these teams have panned out.
Yeah, Ed Couch, start off with the 5A, 6A. Ed Couch also was in our top 10 earlier this year, and now they're back in it at number 10. So we got, which we'll get into in a bit, but those 9 and 10 teams facing off this week in a good one. Here at the sub 5A level, just Rio Hondo, man. I mean, they lose their best player early in the year, and that hasn't seemed to slow them down. I mean, so shout out to the Bobcats for putting things together and keeping things alive there in Rio Hondo. And then at the Coastal Bend top 4, I mean, Cal Allen, they beat Toloso Midway last week in a matchup of 3 and 4 teams. So Cal Allen's win bounces Toloso Midway from the top 10, while Corpus Christi Veterans, from the top 4, while Corpus Christi Veterans slides back in there at the Coastal Bend level. I mean, District 15 5A D1, some good football being played there. And Corpus Christi Veterans, I mean, their only losses are to PSJ North and
Miller.
and Corpus Christi Miller. So just two really good teams here that Corpus Christi Veterans has lost to, Ivan.
Yeah, man, and so that wraps up our top rankings for the week. And before we move on, just want to give another quick shout out to our sponsors, or partners, I should say, that make covering RGV sports and high school athletes here possible.
Welcome to NAP Medical Center in Wesleco, your award-winning destination for stroke care. We are proud to introduce our primary stroke center powered by the most advanced technology through Viz AI and in partnership with DHR Stroke Network.
At NAP Medical Center, we understand the urgency of stroke care and the importance of quick intervention.
When a stroke alert is activated, our specialized stroke team springs into action.
Upon arrival at NAP Medical Center, our patients are swiftly taken to our CT scan room, where the advanced imaging technology captures detailed images of the brain.
These images are then sent to Viz AI's powerful artificial intelligence platform, which analyzes the scan in real time.
Viz AI's cutting-edge algorithms quickly and accurately identify potential signs of stroke,
assisting our team in making informed decisions about the best course of treatment.
NAP Medical Center's primary stroke center
is dedicated to provide our patients with the highest level of stroke care,
giving them the best chance for recovery.
Trust our experienced team to deliver compassionate care,
advanced technology,
and timely intervention
when it matters the most.
Thanks again to our partners. Thank you for making this possible and helping us out and bringing the best coverage here in the RGV. And Brian, I mean, you mentioned it earlier, huge week for us, lots of big games. So big, we couldn't pick just one for the game of the week, so we got a triple header for you guys this week, and it all starts on Thursday, man.
Yeah, we usually try to keep it to one game, but this week, man, the schedule was too jam-packed with district title games. So, as always, we'll start off. You 2 of the 3 games of the week are at the 6A level. So why don't you start off with one of the 6As, and then we'll jump it back to the 5A level.
Yeah, man. So it starts on Thursday, this Thursday at 7 p.m. at Sam's Memorial Stadium. The number 6 Los Fresnos Falcons travel to take on the number 4 Brownsville Veterans Chargers. And I think a lot of people expected these two to be the top dogs there. You know, Harlingen, San Benito, obviously they're great teams. Lost a lot last year, but this is the title game. I mean, you got two of the top playmakers in the Valley, and quarterback Robert Pineda from Los Fresnos and Storm Montoya from Brownsville Veterans. And the winner here is in the driver's seat for the 32-6A title. A win by the Chargers, it secures at least a share of the title. They'd move to 3-0, and they'd be the last undefeated team. So even if they lost their last game, they'd have at least a share of the district title. On the other hand, you know, you got Los Fresnos. A win puts them at 2-0 in district. They had that early bye week to start district, so they're one game behind the Chargers on the schedule, but it put them in the driver's seat. All they need to do is win one of their last two. They got a share, win both outright district title, first district title since 2015. And you expect some fireworks in this one. You got the Chargers coming in averaging 39.5 points per game, Falcons averaging 43.3 points per game, and you know, there's just big-time playmakers on both sides of the ball. It's the kind of game that, you know, gives that playoff atmosphere. You got guys like Cade Stumbaugh and Joshua Laster over in Los Fresnos, Mickey Rodriguez and Eros Pineda in Brownsville Vets. But honestly, it could come down to the special teams. You know, the kicking game tends to take a back seat in a lot of these games. You don't see a lot of great kickers in high school football. You got two of the best in the Valley here, in kicker Ethan Alasco from Los Fresnos and Roman Reyna from Brownsville Vets. So just playmakers across the board. District title in the balance. You couldn't ask for a bigger game to kick off the week. And again, that's this Thursday, 7 p.m. at Sam's Memorial Stadium between the number 6 Falcons and the number 4 Chargers.
Yeah, and we got two bangers, man, Thursday. I've been, as you just touched on, between Los Fresnos and Brownsville Veterans. Here in the Upper Valley, in District 16-5A D1, we got the number 2 team, Edinburgh Vela, playing host to the number 3 team in the RGV, the McCown Memorial Mustangs. Edinburgh Vela 7-0 overall, 4-0 in district play. McCown Memorial 6-1 overall, 4-0 in district play. And Memorial's only loss of the year was against the San Antonio Johnson team during non-district play. So this one, man, is setting up to be a good one. Both of them have balanced offenses. So I'm expecting to see a good one between these two teams. McCown Memorial, running back JP Garza has returned from injury, and he's been running wild since getting back, back to form. And they also got a couple other runners in Jaden Solis and Braxton Spates, a kind of a three-headed monster there in the McCown Memorial backfield. While quarterback Kane Coy and Michael Alanis have formed a real 1-2 punch there in the passing game. Just kind of a passing threat that we haven't seen from a McCown Memorial offense in quite some time. So this McCown Memorial offense is really good, scoring 38.3 points a game, and defensively they hold opponents to just 19.4 points a game. So that McCown Memorial playing really well, coming off a big win last week over Waters Lincoln, while Edinburgh Vela, they're scoring 33.1 points per game, giving up 12.1 points defensively. So this Edinburgh Vela defense is, in my opinion, just right up there in the same ballpark as PSG Norris. They play some good football, and offensively, we've seen how they've come along with quarterback Jeffrey Lefevre coming off his best passing performance of the season, 393 yards last week in a win against McAllen Rowe. He's been lighting it up this year with receiver June Garza leading that receiving corps for the SaberCats, and running back Jonathan Flores has been just one of the best running backs just in South Texas. So these SaberCats, man, they're just another year, new coach, new quarterback, all these things, learning the new system and everything. Yet here the SaberCats are 7-0 overall, with a chance to win another district title. These two played last year. They were in the same district last year, which was 15-5A D1. Now they're in 16-5A D1. But last year when they played, it was a good game, man. Edinburgh Vela won 31-27. That game was in McAllen. This year's game, 7 p.m. Thursday at Richard R. Flores Stadium in Edinburgh, between the SaberCats and the Mustangs. Should be a good one here in 16-5A D1, and with just after this week, just 2 weeks remaining. So the winner here likely goes on to win the District 16-5A D1 championship. And Ivan, back to you to round out the RGVSports Week 9 Game of the Week triple header.
And you know, it ends on Friday at 7 p.m. at Bobby Lackey Stadium. The number 5 PSJ High Bears take on the number 7 Wesleco High Panthers, and you got two of the hottest teams coming into this one. Wesleco High is entering a 5-game winning streak with this one. I mean, they lost their first 2 since then, 5 straight wins, and PSJ High is on a winning streak of their own. They've won 3 straight, and you got some offensive weapons. It's just, you know, you got, I think the biggest thing is last year's 31-6A champ taking on last year's 32-6A champ Westlake High in 31-6A now after realignment, and it's for all the marbles. District title. I talked to Coach Lupe Rodriguez last week after their win over Economides, and he said this is the district title game. You know, they got 2 more games after this, but they're the last 2 undefeated teams, just like in 32-6A. Winners in the driver's seat here, and on PSG High's offense, you know, we talked about him before. Miles Lopez, standout quarterback there. That aerial saw behind receivers like Caleb Salas, Ryan Vallejo, and Westlake High. I think they had question marks. Who's going to take over that offense after the graduation of last year's Player of the Year, Eli Rodriguez, and Frankie Trevino has done a great job there at quarterback, moving from receiver, leads the team in passing, leads the team in, or second in the team in rushing, and then I think the biggest player on there is Chris Luna. He's a weapon, lines up everywhere, leads the team in receiving. He can get it done on the ground. He plays defense, and it's going to be interesting to see how PSG game plans to stop these guys. And just a huge matchup there. Again, this Friday, 7 p.m. at Bobby Lackey Stadium. 31-6A title on the line. You know, winner likely goes on to win the district title. Can PSG High defend their crown, or will Westlake High win another district title, this time in a different district?
Yeah, so just 3 really marquee matchups here in week 9, and that's not all, man. We still have several other matchups here coming on a Thursday, Friday that are just really good matchups that have district title and playoff implications. So we'll dive into them to keep our week 9 preview going. And Ivan, to jump into District 15 5A D1, PSG North, they'll put their undefeated record on the line against a Westlake East team that is 6-1 overall, 4-1 in district. Westlake East only loss was against Corpus Christi Flower Bluff. So this Westlake East team has been really good. They're ranked in our top 10 for a reason. They play good defense. They run the ball really well. And, well, that's what PSG North does well, too. So it's going to be a matchup of similar styles here. This one is 7:30 p.m. Friday at PSJA Stadium in FAR. As the Wildcats, man, they'll look to end PSG North's 27-game regular season winning streak, while PSG North, they got to lock in, man, because Westlake East is a good team. We've seen them play well this year, and we know, well, PSG North on next week's schedule, in week 10, they play Corpus Christi Flower Bluff. Corpus Christi Flower Bluff also 7-0, 5-0 in district. That game next week should be for a district title. Before PSG North can focus there, they can't look ahead. They got to take care of business against this Westlake East team that is really good and is just going to come out and they like to punch people in the mouth, man. They're going to run the ball right at you with quarterback Malachi Rodriguez, and then running back Margarito Pompa just can beat you inside, outside, every which way. Just a versatile athlete with serious speed there in the Wildcats offense. So, yeah, this Westlake East PSG North matchup here in week 9 should be a good one, man. Westlake East is as good as they get, in PSG North, just we've seen how good they've been over the last few years. This PSG North team is no different. So just the number 1 team here in the Rio Grande Valley, PSG North against Westlake East, the number 8 team here in the RGVSports.com 5A 6A rankings. And man, I'm expecting a good one, man. PSG North's offense has looked really good with quarterback Darren Garcia finding some weapons. They didn't have to throw much last week because they were up 40-0 at the half. And I've just been completely impressed with this defense and this offense that this PSG North team has found this year. So really looking forward to this matchup. That is 7:30 p.m. Friday at PSJA Stadium in FAR. So Ivan, back to you, man. I know we got another big matchup at the 6A level.
Yeah, I mean, it's not for a district title, but it does have playoff implications where Edinburgh High and Edinburgh Economides go head-to-head 7 p.m. Friday at Richard Flores Stadium in Edinburgh. You know, both come in with 4-3 records. Both are 1-1. And, Edinburgh High has an 8-game win streak over the Jaguars. Last one came in 2015, but we did see the Jaguars snap a losing streak to Edinburgh North last year. These aren't the same Jaguars as years past. They're in that playoff race, and a win keeps them in that district title race. Although slim, you gotta hope PSG High or Wesley will lose one down the stretch, but it keeps that district title hope alive while still putting them one step closer to getting back to the playoffs for the first time in, I believe, 8 or 9 years. So huge one there. 2 different styles of offense. Edinburgh High is a little bit more balanced. They average 270 a game, 118 through the air, 150 through the ground. But on the other side, you got Economides, 300 rushing yards per game on the ground, only 46 passing yards. And it should be interesting. Like I talked about earlier, Economides wants to keep the ball away from other offenses. They want to grind it out. And they want to control the time of possession. If they can do that against this Edinburgh High team, you can see another streak snapped. And like I said, this team is not the same Jaguars that they have been in the past. Raul Salas has done a great job there, head coach, just turning that program around and making them into legit playoff contenders going into this year.
Yeah, so some big matchups going on all across the valley, and we got another big one, man. District 16 5A D2. Ivan, we talked about kind of all year. Once realignment came out, we talked about just how wide open this district would be with really, 6 teams that could, if they wanted it, it was theirs for the taking. Well, Brownsville Pace and Ed Couch Elsa, at this point, they're at the top of that district, 16 5A D2, both with 2-0 district records. Pace 6-1 overall, our number 9 team here in the RGV. Ed Couch Elsa 5-2. They pick up a win last week over Porter that allows them to get back into our top 10 ranks. So top 10 matchup here in week 9 in 16 5A D2 to decide the district title favorite with just 2 weeks left in the regular season. And there's still some big matchups, man. Pace still has to play Mercedes. They still got to play Lopez. Ed Couch Elsa still got to play Lopez after this one. So some big matchups, but this one should decide that favorite to go on and win this district title. Brownsville Pace running back Adrian Salceda, just the leading rusher here in the Rio Grande Valley, just having a sensational year, really leading that Vikings offense. And then Ed Couch Elsa, we know the strength of that team, that Thunder defense and how good they are. Matthew Connell and Gavin Rodriguez just form a real dynamic duo there in the front seven for that Ed Couch Elsa team. And this is a good one, man. I expect it to be a dogfight. Can Ed Couch Elsa slow down Pace offense? Can Ed Couch Elsa generate enough offense themselves to put themselves over Pace? So I'm expecting a good one there between the Yellow Jackets and the Vikings. Kickoff is 7 p.m. Friday at Benny Layton Memorial Stadium in Brownsville. In Ed Couch Elsa. So that should be a good matchup here, Ivan, with just two teams that haven't won district titles in quite some time have a chance to make their case and really put themselves in position to make some history here in the 2024 season there in 16 5A D2. Ivan, your thoughts? Any other Week 9 games you're looking forward to, or what are some kind of storylines you're looking ahead to here in Week 9?
I say it's district title races, man. I think the biggest one you mentioned there is the 16 5A D2. It's just wide open when we saw the alignment, and it's just great to see these programs, that don't have that success or don't have that history of success like Pace, Lopez in that district title hunt, and even a playoff hunt. Just getting back to the playoffs is a big deal, and I'm interested to see what St. Joe's does too. They're kicking off district this week. They're coming off that bye week. Having a smaller school tends to lead these guys playing both ways. I think they needed that bye week to regroup, and they got a big one against Victoria St. Joseph this Friday. Can they kind of just get healthy and keep going and make a deep run into the TAPS, postseason? So just a lot of huge games coming down the stretch, but I don't think it gets bigger than this week when it comes to the regular season, though. Yeah,
some big-time matchups coming on here in Week 9, and you can get ready for it by visiting RGVSports.com and checking us out on Facebook, Twitter, and on YouTube for all the latest in standings, stats, and stories highlighting this week's matchups. We'll be heading out to some practices this week and to preview, these 3 big, huge just district matchups that we got, Ivan, that will decide district champions. And in right now, district championships are nice, but we know that every team wants to put together a playoff run as well. Well, the seeding in these districts is going to be crucial as well.
Definitely.
Because if you don't win, finish first place, you're going to finish at the 2 seed, and that sets up for some tough first, second, and of course we know once you get to the 3rd round, every single playoff matchup is tough. So. District title implications, but for those teams that are looking for playoff runs, it's seeding implications that they really want to take care of and secure their spots to put themselves in position to make deep postseason runs. So some big matchups here in Week 9 all across the valley, several top 10 teams clashing head to head. We're looking forward to all the action here across the Rio Grande Valley. And so, Ivan, just anything you want to leave the people with here as we close the books here on our Week 9 preview?
Yeah, just make sure to go follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. We bring you, live updates from the games we're at. You got highlights, post-game interviews all on our YouTube and, our Facebook. All our stories, everything's posted on there. So just appreciate you all, and we're going to continue bringing y'all the best RGV sports coverage we can.
Absolutely, yeah, and yeah, we're looking forward to diving in here in week 9. So thank you guys for joining us for another episode of the RGV Sports Podcast. We'll catch you next time.